hurricane or pandemic ones, though the EMP plan had been updated and added to over the years as tensions in the world waxed and waned. Now we had a meteorite hit, a catastrophic rockfall, spawning a cascading series of disasters in its wake. Strangely, the federal government had remained silent about the actual triggering event, focusing on the earthquakes, accompanying tsunami, and a growing list of volcanic eruptions all around the Ring of Fire and beyond. The Federal Emergency Management Agency addressed the symptoms, but ignored the actual cause of the disasters. The president almost immediately announced a state of emergency and enacted certain elements of martial law in the areas directly affected by the various disasters. This scared a sizable chunk of the unaffected population, but at least so far, the man seemed to be defying the pundits' predictions of an overreaching federal bureaucracy trying to disarm the population and institute some kind of police state. Or at least, that was the impression I received from the heavily censored national news media and the reconstructed and neutered Internet. Still, NASA was silent, and so were the many observatories, both public and private, when it came to the possibility of a meteorite strike starting this whole thing. My brother Mike seemed upset by the censorship and the lack of an explanation, but we had plenty of other things weighing on us as we adapted to the nearly constant rainfall and prepared for the likelihood of a long winter followed by a damp, cool summer. For the moment, all our attention lay on the massive Category 5 storm, Hurricane Debbie, that was bearing down on us like the wrath of an angry god. One step at a time, as I urged my friends and family. At least this time we'd received a storm warning, but none of us could comprehend the level of destruction now coming our way. Chapter 1. The storms finally passed, as all storms are wont to do, but we still spent 3 days down in the shelter as the winds howled and the rain struck the oversaturated earth in great sheets. We had prepared as best we could for the hurricane, which meant work that had taken place years, not hours, before the first tornado warnings began to sound like air raid sirens in New Albany. That right there was a secret to preparedness that many of the latest gadget fans and cool systems junkies never seem to appreciate. Make your plans in advance, test and adjust them for flaws, and stick to them. That was the core principle of preparedness, as well as stocking up on bullets, beans, and Band-Aids. Our family had a hurricane survival plan, and we intended to stick to it. I alone, out of all the adults, braved the wind and rain, mixed with a bracing dose of intermittent hail and the bands of terrifying lightning, to dash out once a day to the small barn to milk the cow. It wasn't any particular special flavor of bravery on my part, just more of a recognition that I both knew where everything was located and I didn't have any immediate family to worry about me. To their credit, Mike and Pat both tried to take a turn, but I explained it was simply easier for me to handle the chores. We decided to keep our milk cow and the yearling calves stalled in the barn for the duration, along with the horses, so someone needed to feed the small herd and relieve the cow's stress by draining her milk, lest she go dry on us. That was another one of those forward-thinking plans, since you couldn't hope to stock enough powdered milk to last indefinitely. On the soggy morning of the 4th day, I was back at the barn, seeing to our menagerie of farm critters. Maisie the milk cow was always seen to shortly after dawn, and I fed her a little grain in the milking stall before I washed down her bag with the mild soap we used. The soap was a diluted version of the old frontier standby of lye mixed with an aloe...